I smell a roast.
This actually came up this week on Twitter. I saw people tweeting about this, and I thought it'd be fun to roast hangover cures. And before I typed in hangover cures, and this was the first stock image that came up on the internet.
My head.
I think that's a good embodiment. I think that's a good embodiment of hangovers. You wake up the next morning after a night of drinking.
No, it's not.
And you just feel terrible.
No,
'Cause
it's
there's only 3 beers in front of him.
There's no. Not only that, he's laying on his stomach.
Yeah, it's true.
That doesn't happen.
That's true. So I wanted to talk about, some sure things, some snake oil, some things that are,
What do you use for a hangover?
Honestly, coffee.
Really?
Honestly, like if I wake up and I'm really bad, and it's only if I'm mixing. Honestly, if I can usually have a night of drinking beer, and even if I'll drink 12 of them, God forbid, I'll wake up the next morning, and I'll usually be okay. Same thing with liquor. If I'm drinking liquor all night, I'll wake up the next morning, I'm fine. If I'm mixing them, if I'm doing out at a bar and doing shots and drinking beer, or I'm drinking beer early in the night and then switch to brandy or bourbon or something like that, next morning I am damn well waking up.
Especially something with sugar in it, right?
Totally.
That's terrible.
But I honestly, I'm tried and true. I coffee and a breakfast, some sort of breakfasty food, that greasy eggs and sausage or whatever, and toast in there, and a lot of coffee. What do you use?
Coconut water.
Coconut water, of course, because you're
Like
healthy and awesome.
A gallon of it.
Yeah.
I'm not healthy and awesome when I'm hungover. that's for
true.
sure.
None of us are.
Yeah, I think it's this one time I had one of those I think I'm gonna die hangovers.
Yeah.
Do I have the flu? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And somebody had brought me some coconut water, and it was the first time I had ever had coconut water, and it made it so I could sit up.
Oh,
which
sometimes is really hard when you're really hungover. But speaking of coffee, lots of people like to use coffee, and we actually have a very special word from Father Zakk Wylde about this subject.
What's going on, gang? Zakk Wylde here. The word on the Black Label streets is a bunch of you went out again last night, partaking in some adult beverages and some genital plowfest matches. If you woke up this morning with an award-winning headache and a world championship case of gonorrhea, fear not, because 8 out of 10 doctors who can't practice law all agree upon force blend to get you back up and running again. So when your better half asks, "Why, darling, what is that green-yellow stuff oozing out of your baby maker zone?" just say, "Why, my love, let's just skip over that and have a delicious cup of Valhalla Java force blend, shall we?"
Oh my God, man! I love Zakk. It's just too funny. But let's talk about the science of hangovers. And I didn't even know this. Do you know what a congener is? A congener? Not a conjurer, but a congener.
I mean, not by the name of
CONGENERS.
No, I've never heard that.
So basically what it is, it's a chemical byproduct that's formed during ethanol fermentation, which makes alcohol. If you want to know more about making alcohol, go back to a very, very early episode. It was episode 6 with Rick Sakari from Albany Distilling. This dude's a nerd about that stuff.
Yeah.
He really breaks down how you make alcohol. It's really cool and incredible. But anyway, so these congeners, they are created, and that's what actually gives you a headache and will give you a hangover. And drinks that contain very little of these are like your clear alcohols, like vodka or gin. Drinks that contain a lot of these are tequila and bourbon. Bourbon being the one that contains the most of them.
Oh, wow.
So you'll have that in there. So again, if you want to stop your hangover, drink more vodka, I guess, right?
So what's it coming from? Because if it's
the breakdown of the sugar that's creating the alcohol, and it's the chemical byproduct that's being left behind by that chemical breakdown.
Right, but if it's why is it more apparent in a darker alcohol?
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Rick.
Because I mean, the alcohol is dark because of being aged in burnt barrels, right?
Correct.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure.
Science.
But other scientific things that have been tested and that help is to eat a good meal before you're going to go out drinking.
Yep.
Or, like I said, have that brunch or breakfast when you're hungover, because it'll soak up a lot of that stuff that's in your system, and that'll help. Get a lot of sleep. Stay hydrated. That's something that is lost on a lot of people. Like, if you are out on a night of drinking and you go home and you pound like 40 ounces of water before you go to bed,
it makes all the difference.
Makes all the difference.
You know what I do is I keep like
a big jug,
this thing next to me, and
Yeah.
you'll wake up like 4 times, and every time I wake up, I try to force myself to chug more water,
Yep.
and usually by the morning, I got it together.
Yep, yeah, it definitely helps. And also, the one thing that if you go to any scientific journal and ask the question, you're like, what can I do to stop a hangover? They'll say, drink less.
Or don't drink.
Because that actually works.
Yeah, well, what do you know?
100%.
Fucking science, man.
But tell us about, as we're talking about this, tell us about some of your favorite hangover cures, however crazy they are, because I'm very curious about
Baby
this.
food. Or
Yeah, very curious about this.
activated charcoal. I know some people use that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me being me, obviously, I started to research this and look back into ancient history, and I found some interesting things in ancient history about this. So in ancient Rome, okay, when they would have their big parties and stuff like that, the idea was the next day.
Is that the same picture you used for the Christmas?
Yeah, it is. Well, it is. It's that same party.
Oh, okay. Wow, these guys just
woo. It's a very famous party depicted in Roman times.
Okay,
but,
got it.
They would deep fry a canary and eat the whole thing.
In one bite, or just?
Yeah, I don't know about in one bite, but eat the whole thing and ingest the whole thing, and that deep fried canary would apparently help you to not be hungover anymore.
Disgusting.
Disgusting, and I don't really think that's a good idea. Ancient Greece, not to be outdone by Rome, they would have a hearty breakfast of sheep lung and 2 owl's eggs.
Well, it sounds like it's more useful than eating a whole canary.
Yeah, I guess. I'm not really sure. In Namibia, they use this thing, and that's a typo. They use this drink called buffalo milk, which is basically just clotted cream, spiced rum, dark rum, cream liqueur, and whole cream.
Well, you're getting drunk again. No
it's
wonder.
basically a boozy milkshake in the morning. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Like, I bet you it works great.
Yeah, I bet it works wonderful. In fact, I'm down to try that next time I get hungover.
In Puerto Rico, they have had this on their traditions for a while, which is really weird. They say to rub a lime or a lemon on the armpit of your drinking arm before you go out drinking.
Stop.
And this will help to stave off your hangover in the morning. Again, I don't really think that'll work.
I don't think that'll work at all.
And then the final one in old-timey Ireland, they said to bury you up to your neck in wet river sand, and that would stave off your hangover.
Yeah, because the tide rises and you drown and you die and you no longer have a hangover.
This was a stock photo of buried in the sand, which I thought was great. But actually, what's funny is if you think about it, the wet river sand in Ireland is going to be very cold because of Ireland. So it's basically just a cold shower is what they're telling you to do, which I guess you could just jump in the river and that would be a little bit easier.
Dude, that's a bad
right?
one. These are horrible.
Man. So there's some really funny ones and some tried by true methods that I've heard around the internet from people like you and I, who I wanted to run down as well. Some people swear by Gatorade or Pedialyte.
And the reason why is because they're full of electrolytes, which
that's what plants crave.
Jeff. Anyways, when you drink and you notice you pee a lot more, right?
Right.
You're also ridding your body of electrolytes.
Right.
So in order to rehydrate the next day, you need to replenish those electrolytes. There's a few ways to do it, but some things just contain electrolytes.
Right.
Like Gatorade.
Or Pedialyte.
Yeah. Or the next thing that we're about to talk about.
Yeah, which is a lot of people talk about this, and this one's worked for me too, is eating pickles, anything pickled, not just cucumbers, pickled anything, drinking pickled juice.
Well, here's the thing.
Pickles.
It has a lot of salt, which is electrolytes,
Yes.
which helps you absorb water and rehydrate. It's not some sort of weird voodoo thing here. It's salt, people. It's just salt. That's why people like big greasy meals.
Yeah.
Because you have some stuff in your stomach to kind of sell it, but that grease has a lot of salt, which helps you rehydrate.
Yes. And that works. That works for some people. Another thing that a lot of people really subscribe to is drinking Coke or Pepsi.
No.
And this is either just by itself or with greasy foods like breakfast food or whatever.
I can see how the carbonation might help you a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're done there.
Coke and Pepsi make me sick usually.
Yeah.
Anyways, like brown soda, I don't know what it is, but it doesn't agree with me anymore in my old age.
No, Jeff.
But yeah, some people really subscribe to it. Another drink, tomato juice.
Salty.
Same kind of idea, either by itself or with a big meal or with paired with different things. Yeah, salty, very, that acidic kind of salty thing. A lot of people like it.
Yeah.
Speaking on that as well with drinks, smoothies of any time. All your health nuts out there will say, this type of smoothie or that type of smoothie will.
Wheatgrass, bro.
I know that there are specific, like Whole Foods and stuff like that. They make hangover cure smoothies, and there are companies out there that make hangover cure like little 5-hour energy shots.
Oh
and,
yeah, we were in New York City when we grabbed some of those. This seemed to work.
It's basically just a smoothie of chemicals and other stuff,
Yeah.
and putting it back into your body. Another one that a lot of people subscribe to is not ingesting something, but getting it out of your system, working out. There's my workout picture.
Oh, I like it, Jeff. I like it.
But I mean, like, if you go and you really, exert yourself and sweat out all that alcohol, some people say, it makes them feel better.
Yeah,
I think that would make me feel worse.
Yeah, I've never had that work out for me.
No way. Another one that I saw a lot of people talking about on the internet was spicy food, especially like Asian food, like with like hot peppers in it, or just food like you go out for brunch or breakfast or something, you just douse your eggs in Red Hot or sriracha or something, and that's spicy food, or a Bloody Mary, like really spicy, like that supposedly helps the hangover.
Never had that help. Nah, it sounds like nonsense.
Finally, the one that always works, because you're basically just getting back on the party train there, is hair of the dog.
This never made sense to me because when you wake up and you're hungover and you're nauseous.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do is drink more alcohol.
Even thinking about it makes you sick. But there was a time in my youth where I got hungover.
Oh, yeah.
And I think we were at some swimming hole somewhere and somebody broke out some Jack Daniels and I was feeling terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a shot and was like,
I feel better.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Now I'm killing my body again.
Yay. Don't do it, people. It's not a good idea.
Alcohol is a delicious, delicious poison. But again, I just thought it'd be fun to roast some of the sillier ones, and some of those ancient remedies are crazy. I never even knew.
Ridiculous.
Because we've all been drinking has been a thing of human culture for a very long time, and therefore dealing with hangovers has been as well. So I hope we got to hear some of your favorite remedies as well, and maybe learned a thing or two from you guys.